Aloha, the Baha'i greetings. Hello to everyone, everywhere. My name is Abbas Temuri. Today is 12th of April. Time is 11:36 in the night. And I'm going to continue this project. Last time I did speak some facts, some method that I acquired, that I've seen it in the writings about the teachings. Today I'm going to speak about another one of the highways that Baha'u'llah has paved towards the spirituality, which would be called pioneering. Baha'is are asked by Baha'u'llah in the Baha'i faith that if they could arrange, somehow leave their homeland, hometowns, and go to the other nations, other countries, even other cities, as a pioneer to establish Baha'i faith on that region. Well, if teaching that was so effective is combined with the pioneering, that means not only you start to teach, but do it somewhere that there is no Baha'i. Imagine the result will be magnanimous. Baha'u'llah never asks, where are you coming from? Your past is irrelevant to him. He asks, where are you going to? Which means, what are you going to do now? The past is past. A lot of spiritual things we should have done, we didn't do, or wrong things and whatnot. Bob says, if one person becomes guided towards the truth, towards God, by you, your entire past, if there was defective, it was bad, it was sinful, it will be all forgiven. So imagine how big it is to convey the message of God to a person and help that person to find the truth. So, in the light of this fact, I should say it was right after the revolution in Iran that I decided to go to India. Strictly speaking, not as a pioneer, but I was trying to go to India, maybe complete my degrees and perhaps learn more English, because I was fascinated with the writing of Shoghi Effendi that I couldn't read. I wanted to know what they are. This is my idea to go to India, and as I said before, with that Mr. Shamir Zadi, which is the father of Mustafa, became Baha'i, he gave me 2 of his buildings. The contract, I finished it, halfway almost, and he gave me enough money that I could go, those days with 50,000 Tuman, to India, which I didn't take all of it with me. I couldn't. I think they would allow you only about 3,500 or something to take. Left that money with my brother Hassan, so he could send it to me. So we went to India, and it was landing in Pune. Saw some of the Baha'is. Tawheed was there, my teacher in Pune, and then from there I went all the way south to where my brother-in-law was, in the state of Tamil Nadu, in a city called Trichy. It was awfully dirty, filthy, so much poverty, from the cultural poverty to all kind of poverty was there, physical poverty, economical poverty. So one of the things I did, I said I'm going to learn English language. So I went to college, I guess, a botanical course. That becomes kind of a background for what I know in biology. But I took the book of Shoghi Effendi, it's called the Book of Certitude, and its original one by Baha'u'llah is called Kitab-i-Iman. And I compared it word by word. I tried to understand how Shoghi Effendi translated word by word, and I documented everything. And it becomes a dictionary of its own. I found out how fascinating is Shoghi Effendi's knowledge about the faith when you read its English version, because it's really more than translations, also interpretations. At the very first chapter, he says the wine of certitude, whereas in Persian, if if you translate it, Ka'us Iran means cups of certitude. And I was wondering, how could the word cups be translated as wine? I made some investigation in the dictionaries and I found out the singular word kas has got 4 different type of, make it plural, like kasat, akus, kous, the akas, and the akas are 4 of them. But when plural in the form of kous, which is the plural for kas means cup, kous means cups, in the plural form, kous also means wine. Who could guess that? I could never believe that kous, which I see cups of certitude, would actually means wine of certitude. Right there you can see the divinity of the power of Shoghi Effendi. It's beyond comprehension, my dear, if you are into the words, and so you know. So I shared the idea with 2 of my friends, Mustafa and Izzat. They also started to do the same comparison. When we took all the work, I remember at some point from Trichy in the state of Tamil Nadu all the way down to city of Bangalore, which is a different state on the east, and showed it to Mr. Fatah. I'm one of the members of the Universal Laws of Justice. He graciously welcomed us, talked to us, and he said this kind of a dictionary has been made by Universal Laws of Justice for their translation. So he basically didn't want us to put this in, give it to other people. I said, be careful about it. You can do it for yourself, but publishing it, you should wait right now. But there was a lot of gimmicks. Some people, they were looking at me. I was told by other friends that you're coming up into the meeting with this briefcase, black briefcase. They're thinking that you might have put a bomb in this. They were all thinking that of my Muslim background, I'm not really a Baha'i. I'm here for something else. Because they themselves are not real Baha'is. They wouldn't know, why should I become a Baha'i as a Muslim? I think. So matter went on, and I continued. There was a lot of frictions and problem between me and the Baha'is. I remember, these are not younger Persian Baha'is. One day I accepted to pay a certain amount of donations to the assembly, speaking to the secretary, to treasurer. But the money didn't come from Iran. I did not have the money, and I said, I'm sorry, I don't have the money. Because of that, this treasurer got so angry at me, they somehow manipulated all the assembly to maybe try to throw me right out of the faith because of what I said. My God, what do I do? Thanks God, there's this wonderful counselor of Universal Laws of Justice. His name, those days they call him Nagaratnam. We call him Uncle Nagaratnam. Contacting with him, he sent his secretary, his board member, his assistant board member, named Mr. Gilbert. Oh my God, this Mr. Gilbert was a gem. He came, he said, I don't know you, I don't know what they say, I have to investigate. He entirely heard my story, went to them, and he took me to assembly and told them that basically you cannot push Mr. Temuri to come to the Baha'i Center to take his shoes off. That's what they were asking me. They said Baha'i Center is a holy place, you can't come here. They made their own laws. I said, there's nothing written. The floor is so dirty, I'm going to rather have my shoes on. And the second thing was that he, if he does not or refuse to pay the money because he doesn't have the money, at any time for the withdrawal, you can't call him a non-Baha'i or things like that. CA straightened them up. I remember that. I remember we had always this problem with the visa because they announced that we can basically, they cannot renew our visa. Keep sending the letter, leave India, which means your visa is not there. We had to go all the way from south to north to Delhi, to the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of India. And I'm in one of these places, and I'm in the garden, beautiful garden, and Mr. Vajdi, which was I think the chairman of the National Spiritual Assembly of India, came up and he was really horrified, kind of really disturbed, perturbed, and he said, "Oh, Mr. Temuri, bad news, bad news." And he just showed me the name of 22 people on the beginning of the revolution that they were all killed. They were all martyred by the satanic regime of Iran. And I recognized that one name was Mr. Mowahed, the last 22, the last one, Muhammad Mowahed. Oh, I got really, really hurt, seriously hurt. He was a small, short man who was a priest, Islamic, mullah. And he became Baha'i. He was so poor, small guy, He always was saying that I should have been at the time of Bob. It's not fair to me. I should have been at the time of Bob. He married and the little kids. They got him. Killed. I went to the garden. My wife was there. I just cried for the first time in my life, I think. I could not just see, him died. Yeah, it was very hard. So, I decided, a decision I made. I said, I'm going to quit college right now, as much as important it is, and I'm going to write a book on his behalf. We came down, I went to Trichy, I found out there were a mosque around here. They told me, oh, there's an Islamic college called Jamal Muhammad College. I go there and I saw some Islamic book, and they told me there's actually a madrasa around here that you could go religious school and find more books. Good. I went and saw a lot of Sunni book. There are Shiites and Sunnis. This is Sunni sects. Muslims, they're all mostly Sunnis in India. I took 1, 2, 3 books. They allowed me to do it with the bikes that I had, just a bicycle. More than maybe 20 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers. From my house, I would bike there, go get the book, bring them back home, study it all in 1 day or 2 days, and find out whatever the topics that I wanted. Write those things in writing, and essentially know where the book is and where the pages. I did that about a month or two. I read about 30 to 20 books. I got all the information. Then I came and arranged it, and I wrote a book. It's called Day of Resurrection. It's on my website right now. The lessons of Mr. Mowahed about the connection. This book is somewhat like William Sears' book, Thief in the Night. There's some explanations of the relationship between Islam and the Baha'i faith and how Muslim could travel to the Baha'i faith through the Islamic text. I put together and I wrote it, and I felt that good. I sent the book to North, where my friend Tawheed was there in Bombay. He read the book, he liked it, he sent a letter on it. He said that, I found this book interesting, and I took it to Consular Afshin, Burhanuddin Afshin, a wonderful consular of the Universal House of Justice. This gentleman was so much enthusiastic, exuberant, what would have been his name. Always smiles, always laugh, almost full of jolly, He wrote another letter on the book and sent it back to me, inviting me to come to the north of the first Baha'i Youth Academy in India. Excuse me, come over and I want you to teach these books. I went there and I talked to him. He said, there are so many Baha'is that are coming from Dubai and Saudi Arabia. These are coming from the Muslims, area that are Sunni. And it's so wonderful, your book, because it's all reference to the Sunni books. They stenciled it, typed it. And there you go, I went to the class, was the youngest one, that I taught this book along, with others. Tawheed was one of the teachers too. Mr. Afshin himself was there. I think Godfrey Bishop was there. Ali Merchant was there. Vasudevan was there. These were the faculties, and the other kids that come in, and they liked me very much. That as a Muslim, I've investigated so very well to become Baha'i faith. So that's one of the things I did. And prior to that, I had a pretty strange dream. Now, these visions are very strange to me. It is because I had a vision. I'm flying in the heaven, the sky, with me and my wife through some place in Iran, and I'm going to where I used to live. As I'm flying, I see it's just me. My wife is not there anymore, and it's getting towards the sunset, and I landed on one